Welcome back to Digital Dispatch. We've spent the last few days looking at all these different ways AI is changing the world. And today
Yeah.
we're going to be diving into a use case that is absolutely crucial, and that's data storage. I mean,
Mm.
think about it. All the data AI needs to learn and grow well, it's got to live somewhere. And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah. And it's not just the sheer volume of data, though, that's the challenge. It's the way AI needs to access and process that data. It's forcing us to completely rethink storage,
Yeah.
like from the ground up.
Absolutely. And we've got a fantastic guide for this deep dive, an interview with Pure Storage CTO Rob Lee that was published in Computer Weekly. I mean, his insights are just spot on, especially because as AI is exploding, everybody's scrambling to figure out how to handle this data deluge. And by the way, if you're finding this deep dive as mind-blowing as I am, do us a favor and share it. And don't forget to follow us for more optimistic takes on tech, AI, and finance. So
Yeah.
let's unpack this, shall we?
Let's do it.
The CTO, he highlights something really important, this new AI data challenge. It's not just about storing more data, like you said. It's about being able to access that data instantly, efficiently for processing. Think of it this way. You have a massive library, right?
Yeah.
But instead of like leisurely browsing, you need to be able to find specific facts in a split second. That's the kind of speed that AI demands.
Oh, wow. So it's like our data centers are turning into like super speed libraries for AI. But what does that actually mean for us? Like practically, what do we need to actually do differently?
Well, think about all the data that you've got archived,
Yeah.
stuff that's tucked away,
Yeah.
because you didn't need to access it frequently. The CTO says, suddenly even historical data needs to be performant, secure, and modernized. Oh, it's like your old data is getting a promotion. That's a fantastic way to put it. I love that. So imagine you're trying to train a model, to predict customer behavior. And suddenly you need to access like years of purchase history, web browsing data, all this information that might be, scattered across like outdated systems. You need that data, and you need it fast.
Exactly. And that's where the need for flexibility comes in. The CTO is a huge advocate for flexible IT systems, systems that can handle the unpredictable nature of AI workloads. We can't just keep like buying more storage and over-provisioning like we used to.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, AI is evolving so rapidly. Who knows what your storage needs are going to be like a year from now, let alone 5 years.
Exactly. It's impossible to predict. He makes a great point about this. With traditional business applications, you could predict future needs with some accuracy. But AI, forget it. The pace is just so rapid, it's practically impossible to predict what you'll need, even a few months down the line. So flexibility becomes key.
Okay, so over-provisioning is out. So what's the answer?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody seems to be jumping to the cloud. Is that the solution?
Well, the cloud definitely offers a lot of flexibility in terms of capacity. You can easily scale your storage up or down as needed, but the CTO, he warns about the dangers of relying solely on the cloud. He really makes a clear distinction between capacity flexibility and technological adaptability.
Interesting. So there's a difference there. Tell me more about that.
Okay, think of it this way. Cloud providers, they have their own technology stacks, right? Their own way of doing things. If you build your entire AI infrastructure on their platform, you really risk getting locked in. And if you need to switch later on, because of like performance issues or costs, or maybe they just don't support the latest AI tools, it can be a real nightmare.
It's like building your house on rented land. You might have like a beautiful house,
Yeah,
but you're at the mercy of a landlord. And in this case, the landlord is like a tech giant.
exactly. And the CTO, he calls out the cost of replatforming as a major concern. Imagine having to migrate your entire AI infrastructure to a new platform. Oof, talk about expensive and disruptive.
So cloud's a tool, but it's not the whole toolbox.
Yeah.
What else do we need to avoid this like tech lock-in?
Well, the CTO, he's a huge proponent of open architectures and open networking.
Okay, break that down for me. What does that mean in plain English?
Hey, imagine like a universal language that all these different technologies can understand and interact with. That's essentially what an open architecture is. It not enables seamless integration. And it makes it so much easier to adapt to new technologies. It's about future-proofing your storage infrastructure.
Future-proofing, I like that. So I'm choosing storage solutions that are based on these open architectures. So I'm not stuck with one vendor's technology. I have options. I can switch things up as AI evolves and my needs change.
Exactly. It's like choosing a phone charger that works with any device
Yeah.
rather than one that's like specific to a single brand.
That's a perfect analogy. And that brings us to a really important question. Who controls these architectures? Is it a free-for-all, or are there like some big players calling the shots?
That's where the supplier dominance dilemma comes into play. The CTO points to chip makers, for example, as having, significant influence in how these AI technologies develop.
Right. Even if we're all gung-ho about Open architectures. The reality is that some companies have a lot more clout than others, and that can stifle innovation and limit our choices.
Absolutely. But the CTO is optimistic that the market will kind of self-correct.
Yeah.
Right now there's a lot of hype around optimizing for very specific AI workloads, which leads to these closed systems. But he believes over time the focus will shift to balanced performance across a wider range of AI applications.
So instead of having like a specialized chip for every single AI task,
Hmm.
we'll see more general purpose solutions,
Hmm.
solutions that can handle various tasks well. That seems to align perfectly with the flexibility we've been talking about.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between optimization and openness.
And this is where companies like Pure Storage come in, right? I mean, they've been making headlines with their FlashBlade technology.
Hmm.
How does their approach fit into all of this?
Well, the CTO is clearly a fan of their approach. He highlights their FlashBlade portfolio, particularly the E family, which is designed to replace those, clunky hard disk drives that have been around forever.
So they're going for flash performance,
Mm.
but at a cost that's comparable to traditional hard drives. I mean, that's a game changer,
Yeah,
especially for organizations that are like drowning in data for their AI projects.
absolutely. And he mentions that this has been particularly popular in the Asia Pacific region. It seems like there's a huge demand for this kind of solution in markets that are going all in on AI.
Makes sense. They're facing these data challenges head on. But what about organizations that have a mix of needs? Can they combine different FlashBlade offerings?
That's the beauty of it. He explains that you can combine the cost-effective E family with their higher performance FlashBlade offerings. And because their hardware and software architecture is unified, you can move data between these tiers seamlessly without any performance hiccups.
So it's like having a multi-level library. You keep the most popular books on the ground floor for quick access and move the less frequently used ones to the upper floors. You get the benefits of tiered storage, but without all the headaches of managing like multiple systems.
Right. And this is where Pure Storage's approach gets really interesting. They're addressing this need for both performance and affordability while keeping things flexible and adaptable. It's a very delicate balance.
Speaking of adaptability, there's been a lot of buzz lately about Broadcom's acquisition of VMware, and people are wondering how that might impact their choices. Does the CTO address this at all?
He does. He acknowledges that it's definitely on people's minds. Some organizations are already, looking for VMware alternatives, while others are kind of playing it safe and waiting to see how things shake out.
So there's a bit of a wait-and-see attitude in the market. How is Pure Storage responding to all this uncertainty? Are they picking sides?
Their message is all about support and flexibility. The CTO emphasizes that they're committed to supporting the customers no matter what path they choose.
I mean, that's a smart move. Whether organizations stick with VMware, explore managed services from the cloud giants, or dive into the world of Kubernetes, Pure Storage wants to be their trusted storage partner. It's a great way to build trust in a market that's a bit jittery right now.
Absolutely. It reinforces their commitment to open architectures and avoiding vendor lock-in. They want their storage solutions to play nicely with whatever virtualization platforms their customers choose.
Yeah. This brings up another interesting point. Some organizations that are ditching VMware are looking at Nutanix as a potential alternative. Does the CTO hint at any potential support for Nutanix down the road?
He keeps his cards pretty close to his chest on that one. He mentions that they're always collaborating with various vendors and exploring new integrations, but he doesn't really spill any beans about Nutanix specifically.
Oh.
However, he does say, stay tuned, which hints at, some exciting developments in the future.
Ooh, that's intriguing. Sounds like we've got a lot to unpack here. But before we go any further, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive into the world of AI and storage.
Sounds good. Feels like we're at a real crossroads with data storage. AI is pushing us to think differently about how we store and access information.
Yeah, it's not just about cramming in more data. It's about making sure that data is ready to be used by AI, at a moment's notice. Speed, flexibility, adaptability. These are the new watchwords. And that's why this whole conversation about open architectures and avoiding vendor lock-in is so critical.
I think the CTO's point about the market eventually shifting towards balanced performance is really key here.
Yeah, let's unpack that a bit. What exactly does he mean by balanced performance?
Yeah.
And why is it so important in the world of AI?
So right now, we're seeing a lot of specialized hardware and software, stuff designed for very specific AI tasks. Imagine a chip that's amazing at training deep learning models, but it struggles with running inference workloads. or a storage system that's lightning fast for one type of AI application, but crawls for others.
Right. It's like having a toolbox full of specialized tools,
Yeah.
each one perfect for a single job.
Yeah.
That's great if you're building the same thing over and over. But AI is all about, exploring new frontiers, trying new things, and you need a more versatile toolbox.
Exactly. And with AI evolving so quickly, I mean, it's almost impossible to predict what you'll need even a year from now. This hyper
Hmm.
specialization, while it can deliver incredible performance in the short term, it might actually become a liability down the road.
Yeah, because you're essentially betting on a single technology or vendor. And if they can't keep up with the ever-changing demands of AI,
Mm.
you're stuck.
Exactly. So what the CTO is suggesting is we need to move toward more general purpose solutions, solutions that can handle a wider range of AI tasks effectively. They might not be the absolute best for any single task, but they give you the flexibility to adapt as AI evolves.
It's like having a good all-around chef's knife.
Yeah.
Instead of like a whole drawer full of specialized knives you only use once a year,
Mm.
you might sacrifice a bit of peak performance in some areas,
Yeah.
but you gain so much versatility and adaptability in return.
Perfect analogy. And that's where open architectures come in. If we can create storage systems that kind of speak a universal language, systems that can integrate seamlessly with a wide array of AI tools and platforms, then we can adapt to new technologies and workloads much more easily.
So we're not just talking about future-proofing our storage. We're talking about future-proofing our ability to innovate with AI.
Exactly. And it helps address that challenge of supplier dominance too. If we move away from these closed systems and towards more open and interoperable solutions, it creates a more level playing field and gives everyone more choices.
More choices, more competition, more innovation. It's a win-win for everyone, except maybe those companies trying to lock us into their walled gardens.
That's right. But ultimately, the market tends to reward solutions that benefit the majority.
So zooming out a bit, what's the big takeaway here? What should our listeners be thinking about as they navigate this complex and rapidly evolving world of AI and storage?
The key takeaway is this. The rise of AI demands a fundamental shift in how we approach data storage. It's no longer just about capacity, it's about speed, flexibility, adaptability, and avoiding those technological traps that can stifle innovation.
It's about making smart choices today that will set you up for success tomorrow, even as AI continues to evolve at warp speed.
And one way to make those smart choices is to think carefully about open architectures and open networking. Embrace solutions that give you choices, not limitations. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Diversify your storage solutions, stay agile, keep your options open. That's the name of the game in this exciting but ever-changing world of AI.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So where does this leave us? What's the next chapter in this story of AI and storage?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But I think the CTO's final point about potential future Nutanix support is a tantalizing clue.
Okay, yeah. Let's rewind a bit. Remind us what he said about Nutanix.
Well, he was pretty tight-lipped, but he did say that Pure Storage is always looking for ways to expand their integrations. And he specifically mentioned Nutanix, which is very interesting. He even said stay tuned, which suggests something might be brewing.
Okay, so why is this so interesting? What's the big deal about Nutanix?
Well, Nutanix is a major player in the hyper-converged infrastructure space, and they're rapidly becoming a popular alternative to VMware, especially after that Broadcom acquisition.
So if Pure Storage were to integrate their storage solutions with Nutanix, it would open up a whole new world of possibilities for organizations looking to break free from traditional virtualization platforms.
Exactly. It would be a huge win for open architectures and customer choice.
So that begs the question, how might this impact the broader AI landscape? Could greater storage compatibility accelerate the evolution and adoption of AI technologies?
Now, that's a thought-provoking question. It's definitely something we'll be keeping an eye on. But for now, I'll leave you with this. As data storage becomes more flexible, adaptable, and accessible, it removes a major obstacle to AI innovation. It empowers developers and researchers to experiment more freely, iterate more quickly, and push the boundaries of what's possible.
It's not just about storing data.
Yeah.
It's about unleashing its potential to fuel the next generation of AI breakthroughs.
That's exactly right. And that's what makes this such an exciting time to be following the world of AI and storage. There's so much potential, and we're only just scratching the surface.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, but it feels like there's so much more to explore. What are your thoughts? Where should our listeners go if they want to learn more?
Well, the Computer Weekly article we discussed today is an excellent starting point. It offers a really clear overview of the challenges and opportunities that AI is creating in the world of data storage.
And of course, We'll be continuing to follow this story closely here at Digital Dispatch. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into the fascinating world of AI and its impact on all aspects of technology.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your biggest takeaways from today? What questions do you have about the future of AI and storage? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going.
We always love hearing from you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time on Digital Dispatch.